Have you heard of the Five Love Languages? It's a book by Gary Chapman, and he has been teaching about it for years. Now, the premise of the Five Love Languages book is quite simple. This is what they give on their website. Different people with different personalities give and receive love in different ways. By learning to recognize these preferences in yourself and in your loved ones, you can learn to identify the root of your conflicts, connect more profoundly, and truly begin to grow closer. I want to discuss a little bit more about the five love languages. And yep, you guessed it. I want to encourage you to find out what your love language is and then use your love language to better love yourself. According to Gary Chapman, who's the author of the five love languages, he says the five love languages are words of affirmations or compliments. This language uses words to affirm other people. The next one is quality time. This language is all about giving the other person your undivided attention. Next is gifts. For some people, receiving a heartfelt gift is what makes them feel most loved. Number 4 is acts of service. For these people, actions speak way louder than words. And last but not least is physical touch. To this person, nothing speaks louder or more deeply than appropriate physical touch. Now, sometimes it's not apparent what your love language is when you first hear the choices. You might jump to one because it sounds like it might be it, but you would be surprised that that might not be your initial or your biggest love language. And luckily, Dr. Chapman has created a quiz that you can take that will help you to figure out which of these five is your love language. You can take the quiz to find your love language at 5lovelanguages.com. That's the number 5, then lovelanguages.com. I'll put that link in the show notes. My husband and I did the online quiz a few years ago, and I'd say that among other things, it has helped us to communicate better and to show our love to each other in the way we need it, instead of how we're most comfortable giving it. Did you see that difference? We need to give love in the way the other person needs it, not in the way that we want to give it, which is what we usually do. Now, an example I found from Gary Chapman's website confirmed this that I found to be true with my husband and I. I found it to be true. It says if a husband's love language is acts of service, he may be confused when he does the laundry and his wife does not perceive that as an act of love, viewing it as simply performing household duties, because the love language she comprehends is words of affirmations, which are verbal affirmation that he loves her. She may try to use what she values, words of affirmation, to express her love to him, which he would not value as much as she does. If she understands his love language and mows the lawn for him, he perceives it in his love language as an act of expressing her love. So, likewise, if he tells her he loves her, she values that as an act of love. As with most things, there's more to figuring this out than with a free quiz. So, Chapman just suggests that to discover another person's love language, one must observe the way they express love to others. So pay attention to how you're showing love and then analyze what they complain about most often and what they request from their significant other most often. He theorizes that people tend to naturally give love in the way that they prefer to receive love, and better communication between couples can be accomplished when one can demonstrate caring to the other person in the love language that the other one understands. Now, I'm not affiliated with this at all. Like I said, I've used it in my own relationship with my husband, and we were both surprised by the results. I've also talked about it with a few of my clients about how they can show love to others in their life better and how they can show love to themselves. And that's why I thought it would be interesting to take a different spin on this and direct our love language at ourselves and to see what would happen. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. How would you talk to yourself if you discovered that your love language was words of affirmation? Would you compliment yourself more often? Have you ever tried complimenting yourself? I hope if you've been listening to this podcast for a while that you know that that's something that I suggest. So I actually did start doing this. When I do something that I know that I worked really hard to accomplish, or if I was really scared to do it and I did it anyway, I either out loud or to myself, I'll say, "Good job, Marla. I know how hard that was for you, and you did it anyway. I am so proud of you." This is one way that I have improved my relationship with myself. And as a totally separate result that I was not expecting, my relationship with my husband and others that I love improved too, because I was no longer waiting for them to give me a compliment. I wasn't disappointed in them when they didn't do it. Now, I'm definitely not perfect at doing this, but I am way better at it than I used to be. Whether or not your love language is words of affirmation, I would encourage you to start giving yourself compliments. It really feels good. So, what about quality time? If this was your love language, how could you show more love to yourself in this way? Do you schedule in time to do things that you like to do? This could be as simple as reading a book that you choose, and not because it was required reading for something that you had to do. Make that activity even more special by getting cozy with the book, turning off all your electronic devices and making your favorite drink, and then make it real quality time. Can you see that? You can have quality time with yourself. Now, I don't think I need to go through all of the love languages and give you examples. You're pretty smart. Go take the quiz though and decide what your love language is. Then take the top two and decide right then, right after you get your results, what you can do for you that fulfills that need, and do it in that love language. Then, when someone else shows you love in the way that you need it the most, it will just be the cherry on the top. Or if you're like me and you don't really like cherries, it can be the whipped cream on the top. Now, I really want you to try this. Schedule in at least one thing a week to show love to yourself in your own love language, and then do it. Sometimes all you need to lift the burdens of everyday life is to feel loved. It's really all what we want, right? And who better to show you love than the one who knows you best? And you know that's you. Send me an email at marla@hunkydory.com and let me know what your love language is and what you're going to do for yourself in that love language. If you've already done it, then let me know how it went. Let me know how it changed the relationship with yourself and how it kind of let others off the hook from giving you exactly what you need. My love language just happens to be words of affirmation. So I'm going to say, Marla, great job on that podcast. You just helped spread more love in the world. Okay, so don't forget to enter my giveaway that is only open until June 30th, 2023. I told you about it in last week's episode. Here's what you need to do to enter the chance to win an Overburden No More mug. There's only 2 in the world, so it's pretty much a collector's item. To enter, just leave a review about this podcast. It's easy to do. I showed it on the video last week on YouTube on how to get to it. And I also explained it on the podcast from last week. If you're listening on your phone right now, all you need to do is scroll down to past a couple of the episodes and you'll see where it says rate and review. So you can click on the 5 stars and then continue down just a little bit further and it says write a review. You click on that and then you can write whatever you want to about this podcast. It's really easy. And what it does is it's going to show Apple that you're interested in the podcast. And then that fancy algorithm, excuse me, I said it wrong. It tells that to show it to other people that are like you, that they kind of like the same things you do. And it will help grow this community and it will help more people learn to love themselves and to get over the burdens that they're having, or at least working towards it, right? That's what we're doing. So make sure that you leave that review before the end of June 2023, because then you'll be entered into a drawing to win that mug. There's only 2 of them. So if you want to see the mug, I've posted a picture of it on Instagram. You'll see it there. It's a really fun mug and kind of a collector's item. Well, thanks for joining me here today. And remember, I see you. I understand how hard you're trying, and I'd like to help however I can. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you back here again next week.